5:47 a.m. Central Iowa. The temperature's 38 degrees. The sky is the color of cold iron. 3 combines are already running. You can hear them before you can see them. A low, rolling vibration that moves through the ground before it reaches your ears. Diesel and dew. The smell of cut stalks drifting across 1,400 acres of standing corn. The moisture reading this morning came back at 19%. That's workable. Yesterday it was 22. Every point of moisture above 15 costs money at the elevator. Propane to dry it down, time in the queue, margin that shrinks with every hour the grain sits warm in the bin. The crew leader, a man named Dale, who has run this operation for 31 years, is already on his radio. By 6 a.m., the grain carts are moving. The Corn Belt harvest runs on a short clock. Iowa, Illinois, Indiana. Together, these 3 states produce roughly 5 billion bushels of corn every year. That yield, enough to fill nearly 2 million semi-trucks, comes out of the ground in a window that lasts 6 to 8 weeks. Late September to early November. That's it. After that, the weather owns the calendar. Corn doesn't wait for a convenient week. The crop tells you when it's ready. Stalks dry down. Husks pull back. Kernels harden. And when the combine monitor starts reading moisture in the 15 to 18% range consistently across multiple fields, the crews move, all of them, at the same time. At peak harvest periods, the elevator queues stretch 4 to 8 hours. Drivers idle. They check moisture slips. They call ahead to the next farm. The coordination between field and elevator is constant. A relay conversation happening by phone and radio across every county road in the region. You don't just harvest, you manage the flow. A modern corn combine moves at roughly 4 to 5 miles per hour through a field. The head strips ears off stalks, husks and cobs are separated. Kernels move up the elevator and into the grain tank behind the cab. Tank fills in about 20 minutes on a good stand. When the tank is full, the combine doesn't stop. The grain cart pulls alongside, a tractor-pulled wagon holding 1,000 bushels or more, and the combine augers out on the go. It takes maybe 3 minutes. The combine keeps moving through its rows. The grain cart pulls away toward the waiting semi at the field edge. Nobody stops. That's the system. On a large operation running 4 or 5 combines simultaneously, a single grain cart operator may cover 150 acres in a single shift, threading between machines that never pause. The semi loads. It hauls to the elevator, sometimes 20 minutes away, sometimes an hour. While it's gone, another truck takes its place. On relay routes across the Corn Belt, a farm might cycle 3 or 4 trucks continuously through a single field until the day's work is done. Moisture is where farming and finance collide. Corn harvested above 25% moisture requires aggressive drying before it can be stored safely. That means propane. That means time. On a large operation, drying costs can reach 30 to 40 cents per bushel. Across 500,000 bushels, that's real money. But waiting for lower moisture carries its own risk. An early frost locks moisture into stalks. A wet week turns fields soft. Combines sink, equipment gets stuck, and harvest days are lost. A November snow can leave standing corn under ice, and ice means losses, mold risk, and a year's work devalued at the elevator. Dale checks the 7-day forecast every morning before he checks his email. Rain on day 5, he says, will be done by day 4. That's how the math works out here. The decision isn't always comfortable. Harvesting at 22% moisture means Higher drying cost, but guaranteed delivery. Waiting for 16% means lower cost, but 3 days of exposure to whatever the sky decides to do. Most operations split the difference. They run when they can. They adjust the dryer settings. They watch moisture monitors in real time from the cab. The elevator doesn't care about the decision. It takes what arrives and charges accordingly. The harvest crew on a mid-size Iowa farm is lean. 3 combine operators, 2 grain cart drivers, 2 semi-drivers running relay, a field mechanic on standby, and Dale, watching moisture, watching weather, watching the flow. Some of these men have worked this farm for more than 2 decades. Others are seasonal, operators who follow the corn harvest north to south in spring and south to north in fall, moving from state to state as the crop cycle turns. There's a rhythm to that life. You know the fields before you arrive. You know where the low spots collect water. You know which equipment runs clean and which one pulls left. You know how the crew takes its coffee. The mechanic, a younger man named Cody, doesn't wait for breakdowns to find him. He walks the equipment before each shift. He checks belts, greases fittings, watches monitor codes. A hydraulic failure at 2 p.m. when 4 combines are running deep in a field means 4 grain carts idle and 2 semis parked at the elevator with nothing to load. Downtime ripples. When a breakdown does happen, and it does every season, the rhythm slows. The other operators keep moving. The grain cart driver reroutes. Dale gets on the phone. Cody works. By the time the combine is back up, they've lost 2 hours and gained a story they'll be telling next October. The cab of a combine in October is not a comfortable place. It's warmer than outside, but the seat vibrates. The monitor is always demanding attention. The dust gets in regardless. 12-hour days are standard. 14-hour days happen when the weather window closes ahead of schedule. Operators eat in the cab. A thermos of coffee. A sandwich passed up through the cab door at the field edge. The combine keeps moving. The grain elevator is the end point of every relay route, and it has its own rhythm. At peak harvest, the line of semis on the access road can stretch a quarter mile. Drivers wait, engines idle. Drivers scroll weather apps and eat fast food in their cabs. The queue moves slowly, 20 minutes per truck through the scale, the probe, the pit, the turn. The probe samples every load, moisture, test weight, foreign material. The number on that slip determines the price. A load at 14% moisture moves through fast. A load at 24% gets flagged. The drying charge gets written against the farmer's account. It's calculated, automatic, and impersonal. By mid-October, the elevator is running 24 hours. The scale operator has been on since 4 a.m. The pit operator below deck is managing a continuous flow of incoming grain moving through augers toward the base of the storage tanks. The noise inside the pit is constant, a low industrial roar that you stop hearing after the first hour. Outside, the tanks fill slowly and visibly. You can watch the grain level rise through the inspection port on the side. By November, the largest tanks in a regional elevator may hold 2 million bushels. When those tanks are full, the grain waits. For the barge, for the rail car, for the feed mill, for the export terminal, the harvest ends at the elevator door. The economy begins there. The light shifts at 5:30 p.m. in October, Iowa. The sky goes from blue to gold to gray in about 45 minutes. The combines don't stop for it. They've switched on their field lights. The rows go red under the work lamps. Dust clouds glow amber. This is the second shift. The crew has been running since before sunrise. The combine operators are now 10 hours in. The grain cart drivers have been threading between machines for so long the route is automatic. Nobody says much on the radio now. The chatter from the morning has dropped to essentials: field position, tank levels, truck ETA. The temperature has dropped back to near 40. Dale is standing at the field edge watching the combine lights move through the far rows. He's thinking about tomorrow's moisture forecast. He's thinking about the field on the east side that still hasn't been touched. He's thinking about whether the mechanic needs anything before the crew wraps tonight. The harvest doesn't pause when people get tired. It pauses when the weather says so. By the first week of November, most of the Corn Belt's core harvest is done. Fields that were full in September are now flat brown stubble to the horizon. The combines are cleaned and staged. The grain carts are folded. The relay trucks have moved to other work. The final numbers come back through the elevator reports. 5.2 billion bushels across Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana. Approximately 22 million acres harvested. Thousands of individual farms, each with their own crew, their own equipment decisions, their own close calls with weather and moisture and mechanical failure. The grain is in storage now. Some of it will move by rail to the Gulf Coast. Some will go to local feed mills. Some will be held until prices improve. Dale's crew is back home. Cody has already taken a job on a harvest operation in Nebraska. Late-season corn that pushed the window well into November. He'll be back next year. The fields are empty. The stubble will stand through winter. It will hold snow. In April, when the soil temperature rises and the planting equipment rolls out, these same fields will be worked again. And next October, the combines will be running at 5:47 a.m. The field is quiet again until next season. Under this video, there's a subscribe button. It's a small action, but it helps document the work that happens before the shelves are stocked. If you're drawn to the rhythm of the harvest, to the crews who move with the seasons, subscribing simply means you want to see how America feeds itself. And tell us, where are you watching from? Have you ever worked a harvest? Have you seen one? Share your experience below. That's how these stories travel.